Hola a todos, bienvenidos a un nuevo video en mi canal.
Están los monstruos, ¿no? Por todos lados. Mira, ahí hay uno. Igual todo me sirve de experiencia. Vamos a comer. Ah, si corro, me escuchan. ¡Uy, este es nivel 11! Hola, buena Andrés. Aquí ando matando y comiendo hueones. Digo, mordiendo asesinos. Digo, soy un vampiro. Excelente cuchillo con un nombre grabado en la hoja. Clay, dice.
This must be Clay Cox's knife. A fine blade. No wonder he wants it back.
Va a ser un buen médico. Se escuchó distorsionado, sí, es que esa era la idea. Escuchan que hay mucho ruido de zombiliento. Bueno, en realidad no es un zombie, ¿no? Son vampiros, pero... son como vampiros zombies, son como extraños. Y gritan más que todos los otros zombies. Vampiros, zombies. ¿Ese es un vampiro zombie también? Oh, ese es un weón nivel 13. ¿Tan lejos llegamos? Ah, este es el puente. Ay, no, todavía no, ¿para qué? ¿Qué dices? Vampiros de baja monta. Sí, son vampiros raros. Lo que sí necesitamos, cabros, es encontrar la cura de la cefalea, hermano. Si no se nos va por... se está por morir. Bien, encontramos la cuchilla de este weón. A ver si significa algo.
Hey, Doc.
I have found a gift from your wife.
In that case, you'll be properly rewarded, Doc. Clay Cox is a man of his word.
I hope that won't make me an accomplice to your future crimes.
Who knows what I might do now I feel invincible again.
¿Eh? Nos dieron platiwis.
I'll leave you for
platiwis.
now, Mr. Cox.
Ah, santa madre de la cachucha, weón. Era por acá, pues, weón. Todo el rato fue por acá. Enter. Entra bajo tu propio riesgo. Esta es alta zona de zombies. 18. ¡Oh! Conchito, mangale. Es 18, pues, weón. Soy 10. ¿No hay nada más? Hay gente, mira. Pobre gente.
This one's mine!
What the fuck?
Die, vermin!
Nice.
All you deserve. He's fast!
No, no, no. No.
Eat this!
Este es el del problema. El que dispara de lejos. Pero te dice, sí, eso me dice nomás. Pero creo que de a poco, ¿eh? De a poco, de a poco. Bien. Esta es la fucking farmacia, po. Grocery, mira. ¿Será que tiene una entrada por lo alto? ¿De dónde venía yo? Se me olvidó. Se me olvidó de dónde venía. De allá me parece, ¿no? Estoy cerca. No me gusta este silencio, dice. Mira, tenemos una casita. Ah. Dale, Chuchito, buenas noches. Que descanses. ¿Te dieron gatillos para la pistola? ¿En serio? Pero ya la había arreglado, me parece. Mucha razón que tienes. Mucha razón que tienes. Mucha razón que tienes. Mira, me faltan 3 piezas de gatillo eficaz y podemos evolucionar la pistola a nivel 4. Dice gatillo eficaz, ¿no? Uy, Okami. Excelente, weón. ¿Cuántos puntos tengo? 500. Creo que todavía podemos aguantar un poquito más. Hola Jonathan, aquí voy. Avanzando. Yo creería que avanzando.
There's more and more of these bloody leeches every night. Aye. But the god, more and more every year.
When did you join the guard? 2 days ago. This is my first patrol.
Los puedes culpar, weón, de querer cazar vampiros. Y definitivamente no. Y aquí hay 4.
This is no place for you, sir.
¿Gusta o no gusta? Sí. Sí. ¿Es en serio? ¡Tiene escudo! Toma, weón. Lo chupeteamos.
Please open the door, sir.
¿Será por acá?
Whitechapel. This neighborhood is linked somehow to the kind Lady Ashbury's black.
Llegamos a Whitechapel.
First, let's find this Petrescu fellow.
Los buenos del suelo tienen loot. Pero creo que lo agarré el loot. A ver cómo ahorita, weón. Tienes razón, no había agarrado el loot. Gracias, Okami, weón. Toda la razón. Muchas gracias, weón. Aguante. Buenas, Jus, que bienvenido. Siento que también tengo escopeta, po. Sigues robando las raciones a los enfermos, no haces más que ver hasta desplomarte, eres de lo peor. No creas que no te veo mocoso, tengo buena vista, le dice. Eres una vergüenza, chaval.
Stop it now, Albert. Stop it.
The wet boots will be proud of me.
Oh.
Are you all right?
The bastard hit the wall next to me. I don't even know if he meant to miss.
If you've been hurt, I can help you. I'm a doctor.
Name's Albert.
I'm a
Remember
doctor.
it.
And a
Now bugger
vampire.
off.
What happened? Did you really steal that man's medication?
Hey, I didn't do anything. It ain't me.
Medication and drugs are a rare commodity in East London. So you picked an easy target, didn't you?
Sod off, mister. You ain't got no clue what's going on here. Bastard was a soldier in the war, so now he's got the right to shoot me.
It's true. I'm not familiar with this part of town. Perhaps you could help me.
I
Mira,
said
acabamos de
sod
conseguir
off.
una pista de
Go
Benjamin
find
Palmer.
yourself another guide.
No le podemos hacer preguntas personales, no tenemos
Do you
pistas.
know Nurse Dorothy Crane from the Pembroke Hospital? If you know anything about her, I'd appreciate it.
Never heard of her. She's pretty, I'll keep an eye out.
Nos lo podemos comer, cabros, ¿eh?
Goodbye, young man.
I won't end up another drunk arsehole littering the streets. Not me.
Nos lo podemos comer. Un hombre.
What?
Shooting a boy in the middle of the street. Not the best thing to do, wouldn't you say?
What? You saw what happened? Who are you?
I'm Dr. Reed, and I'd like to ask you a few questions, if you promise me to set
Mi
your
gato
guns
está así.
aside.
No. Look, I'm not a violent man. I'm Benjamin Palmer, doctor. And no one can help me. Not even you.
What can you tell me about this place?
Nothing to say, really. This is where I used to live, and this is where I live now.
You don't have anywhere to go. No family that would welcome you.
Not since the death of my wife, Albert's mother. She was sick, you see. Long before the flu and all this shit.
You mean you used to have a better life?
Yeah, I had a wife, a home, and a job. I even used to have a name. Now I'm just Ben. Ben the Tramp.
Perhaps you could focus for a moment and tell me your troubles.
I'm
Tanto Ben
sick,
está tóxico.
broke, and my
Ajá,
son
te
just
entiendo
stole
en
my
esta.
pills. Everything's coming up roses.
Ya entiendo, en esta zona está. Sí, sí. ¿Viste que dice que al hijo es al que le disparó?
Whatever the boy did, I'm sure he didn't deserve a public execution.
I swear I didn't want to hit him. It's just that I'm sick in the head, you see, and the boy just failed me last nerve.
Es tu hijo, weón.
What is it, Benjamin? It was the war, wasn't it? Your nerves are shot, aren't they? I need some answers, Private. From one soldier to another.
The doctors called me a liar, a coward. Put me in a straitjacket and locked me up. Finally, they sent me back to the front lines with a handful of tablets.
It's a pity that doctors still practice such barbaric methods. It's a dishonor to our profession.
Now only the pills stop me thinking about this shit. To not hear the explosions. I'm even scared of the dark these days.
Tenemos que ser piris con la gente. Si
Do you
somos
know
muy
Nurse
violentos,
Dorothy
no
Crane
nos
from the
responden.
Pembroke Hospital? Have you heard anything?
It's funny, I've been searching for her too. I need some pills. But the woman is a phantom, if you ask me.
Really? And why is that?
Word is she ain't real. She's a cover for some doctor who runs an illegal dispensary for migrants.
Oh, ¿escucharon eso? Me están mandando audios, cabros, de mi mamá que iba al sur. Espérame. Que les traiga algo rico. Dale, ahí les mando sus saludos.
A gun, alcohol, and a bad temper make a terrible cocktail, sir. Goodbye for now.
Es el padre,
I
¿viste?
won't end up another drunk
Le
arsehole littering the streets.
Para el
Not me.
hijo, man.
How are you?
I'm not your boy, all right? Now piss off.
No, necesitamos más
Goodbye,
pistas.
young man.
The wet boots will be proud of me.
Los Wet Boots. Ah, mira la banda. ¿Se acuerdan que había una banda, no? ¿Por qué puerta entramos nosotros? Ya ni me acuerdo, weón.
I cannot enter.
¿Por qué tengo esta memoria de papel, weón? Por allá venía, parece. Sí.
I'll not die in some piss stinking alley reeking worse than a week old lappy.
Surprise, motherfucker. Parece como un espacio para pelear aquí, weón. Me doy cuenta que en los lugares donde no hay gente viva, o sea, hay puros enemigos, porque puedo teleportarme. O sea que es donde pueden salir los enemigos. O donde, bueno, están todos muertos. Mira, aquí ya no me puedo teleportar. ¿Viste?
Its effectiveness has been proven by many. Even the flu is...
A ver.
Good evening, miss.
Good evening, sir. Are you interested in a miraculous cure for this unknown and deadly epidemic?
Actually,
Yes.
I am.
Then you have come to the right place. The famous Swanborough cordial is all you need to help keep you in perfect health.
Oh, really? Why didn't I hear about it during my studies? I'm Jonathan Reed, by the way. Dr. Jonathan Reed.
Ah, my brother has spoken of your research, sir. I'm Loretta Swanborough,
Es
and it's always a
Loretta.
pleasure to meet a fellow healer.
¡Cabros! ¡Encontramos a Loretta! La que se me estaba muriendo ayer.
Who intrigues you most in Whitechapel?
The region itself is something to see, but I would
Mátala.
say Camellia
Ah, no, de veras que
the
tengo
meek
colmillito.
forest who gives away her flowers.
What do you think of the locals?
Most of them are afraid or desperate. They all come to me eventually for my remedy.
Is there anyone I should avoid?
Cadogan Bates, without a doubt. The bloody bastard remorselessly exploits poor migrants as soon as they get here.
Ese es el Cadogan. Lo mencionó en algún momento Milton, el chofer de ambulancia del hospital. Lo digo por si ustedes no se acuerdan. Para los mapas soy pésima en los juegos. Pero para los diálogos Mira, no me desbloquea esas charlas porque no he visto nada de su vida.
Do you know Nurse Dorothy Crane from the Pembroke Hospital? I'd like to know more about her.
I don't like to talk about competition.
Competition, you say?
Never met her, but it seems she provides some sort of medical care to the poor. The whole thing has to be some sort of scam, if you ask me.
Claro, para el chismecito.
I'd like to see what kind of...
Elixir. El elixir con la lista de componentes imprimidos en latín. Este objeto se puede reciclar para obtener componentes, ¿ok? Frasco de vidrio, tartatro, solución de clorito, codeína, permanganato de potasio, ergotamina, ¿y qué está? Opio. Todo esto lo tenemos. Me tengo que probar este para ver qué onda. Para ver qué es lo que trae. Bien, Loretta. ¿Por qué te nos estabas muriendo hace un rato, eh? ¿Qué pasaba con Loretta, cabros? Pero la encontramos, po. Ya, por suerte estamos cerca. Me doy tantas vueltas, güey. Llegamos, cabros. Llegamos.
What do you want? Leave me alone.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. I'm looking for Nurse Dorothy Crane.
There is no Dorothy Crane here. Now goodbye.
I'm afraid this medical leaflet says the opposite, sir.
Really? Well, I'm afraid I'm going to close this door right now. Go bother someone else, Mr. Doctor.
To enter that house, I must discover who this man really is. Maybe I could start by observing what he's up to.
Investiga las acciones de Darius Petrescu. ¿Ese es Darius? ¿Cómo? Pero... Tiene neumonía.
A strange man was at the door with a pass for our medical facility. I refused him entry.
Darius, how could you know he didn't need our help?
His clothes were too finely tailored to be from Whitechapel.
Perhaps just a friend of that stray poet who is always about.
Richard Nithercott? No, not of the same cloth, this man. I suspect some machination from that journalist.
Clayton Darby. Is he still asking questions?
Yes. I saw him drifting around St. Mary's Church. I swear he is tracking me just downwind.
I must talk to that journalist or the poet. They must know about Darius. Nearby the church they just mentioned.
Tiene bronquitis. Okay.
Cheap price, good quality. Come on, take a look. Don't be afraid. Welcome,
Sinox,
sir.
¿cómo va?
Please, take a browse of my wares.
I am Dr. Reed. I would like to ask you a few questions, if you don't mind.
Doctor? Interesting. I'm Barrett Lewis. Usually I don't have time to waste with talk, but at this hour of the night I can hardly refuse.
How is business around here?
Business? I have no business. Between this racket, theft, and customers getting scared, I'm losing money every day.
I see. Sounds like you blame someone in particular for your situation.
It's no secret Joe Peterson spends his time harassing merchants. But with me, he's trying to put me out of business once and for all.
Ay, tiene una cara de matón el Joe Peterson.
As a merchant, you see Whitechapel every day. Have you noticed anything out of the ordinary recently?
Well, you mean besides the epidemic, the war, and all the usual crap? As long as I can remember, this part of town has been a bottomless pit, and no sign of the bottom yet.
Violence is increasing in the borough.
Yeah. A few nights ago, some blokes jumped me. Came out of one of the condemned workshops. Fever, madness, something like that.
Where did this happen? Why did you go there?
In the closed workshops nearby. I worked there as an apprentice in better
Ahí hay
days.
vampiros.
Now I only go to find trinkets or tools. Too bad I was mugged, though. There was good money in that little box of loot I lost.
Bien, hay una misión.
Have you been hurt?
Vamos a tener que ir a buscar la
That's
plata.
only because I ran like hell. Those men were raving lunatics, I tell you. Not even able to speak anymore, just screaming.
¿Viste? Son vampiros.
Have you heard of a nurse called Dorothy Crane?
Sí, el
Nurse
Requiem
Crane.
es el 2. A Plague Tales
bitch
Innocence
really is a
es
nurse,
el 1.
then.
A Plague Tales
Always
Requiem
thought
es el
she was
2.
just some crafty foreigner, that one.
Yes, she's a nurse, and quite a good one. What did she do to gain such notoriety?
Dorothy Crane ain't even a real name. Something like Dorothea Craniu. Something like that. Came to England fleeing the
Mira.
war, I was told.
That doesn't explain why she irritates you so much.
Your precious Nurse Crane gives away medical supplies and prescriptions for free. I offered to sell it for a fair cut, but no. Miss Crane wanted to play the quiet saint.
Ah, mira. ¿Vieron, cabros?
Right then. Show me
La
what you
enfermera
have.
Crane no cobra. Y eso es lo que le molesta tanto a estos conchalecos. Uy, qué poca plata tengo. Pero creo que vamos a comprar... Creo que necesito los dos. A ver. Espérame. No te vayas, no te vayas. A ver. Ay, me equivoqué. No era que es el que necesita. Ay, me equivoqué, weón. ¿Vos podés creer? Pieza de empuñadura gráfica. Me equivoqué. Devuélveme mi plata.
Fancy buying some?
You never... Right then.
Me equivoqué. Devuélveme mi plata. Mira, ahora me la compra 16. El conchudo. Me equivoqué, weón. Ah, este es el matón. El Joe.
Excuse me, sir. I have a few questions for you.
Another journalist? I didn't answer the first one, so piss off.
I'm not a journalist, I'm a doctor.
A doctor, you say? It's quite a rare breed in this part of town.
Really? But still, here I am. Dr. Jonathan Reed, at your service.
I'm Joe Peterson to some, but Colossus Joe to most. And I don't remember asking for your service, sir.
El coloso, ¿viste?
May I ask what you do around here?
I do whatever I want, and sometimes even more. Now sod off.
Nos mandó a la mierda.
According to you,
Nos mandó a la mierda.
physicians are scarce in this part of town. Why is that?
Not familiar with this neighborhood, are you? I guess your fancy colleagues are too afraid of being stabbed in the back.
This part of town does have quite a reputation. Would you say it's justified?
Totally. Look at me, for instance. I always look my opponent in the eye before knocking him out.
How did you become the local bully everyone is afraid of, Joe?
There's no pride in roughing up poor bastards. But this is the only job I've found. And it pays well, too.
A job? So you're racketeering for someone else?
I got enlisted by the Wet Boot Boys, a gang from the docks. I'm their muscle for their dirty work.
You are a criminal who endorses criminal activity. The least you could do is stop hiding behind this pretense.
I don't care what you think, sir. I do what I have to do for my own reasons, and that's that.
I'm not sure Mr. Lewis would agree with your by all means necessary philosophy, sir.
Oh, do you really think he's the poor victim here? Barrett can be as sneaky as anyone. Long ago, I even called the bastard my best friend.
Oh, mira eso.
Have you heard of a nurse named Dorothy Crane? She's a colleague of mine and is supposed to live around here.
Dorothy Crane? Yeah, I know her. One of the few good souls who dare to help the sick around here.
Could you please tell me more about her?
She's a nice girl. Tries to help the migrants. I offered to give her a hand, but she said my reputation would attract too much attention.
No deja de ser.
Goodbye, Mr. Peterson.
No deja de ser.
Hello, young man. I'm Dr. Reed, and I would like to ask you a few questions. May I enter, please?
Sorry, no, sir. My father does not like people entering our house, you see.
Your father is worried about you, boy. He asked me to look for you.
So my father actually worries about me then? Okay then. Come on in. I'm Harry, by the way. Even my dreams are soaked with gloom.
So, may I ask you a few questions?
I'm not bothered. What could be worse?
Pues está...
How do you feel?
I'm fine. I mean, it's not easy every day, but I'm fine.
Este es el hijo del otro, del matón que estaba afuera.
I'm just tired of being sick all the time. If only I could be tough like... Well, you know.
Speaking of which, what can you tell me about your father?
My father is an idiot who makes idiot things. That's all I have to say.
Forgive my bluntness, young man, but you don't seem happy living in Whitechapel.
Why should I? I never wanted to come here in the first place. It was my father's decision. But look around you. Does this look like a nice place to live?
You have a roof over your head, a place to call home. Many people here are not as lucky, you know.
That's exactly what my father says. Harry, you should be grateful for what you've got. But I wasn't even consulted when we moved here.
If life here is so terrible for you, why don't you just leave this place? Have you ever spoken to your father about it?
I don't go outside. It terrifies me so. I went outside once without my father noticing and I saw terrible things. Bloody and frightening things.
So that's why you stay at home all day? For fear of the epidemic?
I'm not afraid of disease or death, Dr. Reed. It's the living I'm afraid of.
¿La puedes culpar?
Do you know Nurse Dorothy Crane from the Pembroke Hospital?
Por temer a los
I'd
vivos.
like to know more about her.
Más que a la muerte.
I know her. She came here to examine me when I was very sick. She said I should go out more.
Your father and Mr. Lewis used to be good friends. What happened, Harry?
I was young then. I don't remember Mr. Lewis ever coming back again after my mother died. Or was it after my father started bullying him? I don't know.
Have you tried speaking to Mr. Lewis about it?
I don't go out often, but yes. And he scolded me and told me to leave him alone. I guess my father frightens him too much.
But you are not responsible for your father's actions.
Am I not? Dad always says that he joined that gang for my safety. So if I wasn't born, people wouldn't be worrying about Colossus Joe.
Oh. Se siente súper triste el weón.
Goodbye, young man. Take care of yourself.
Bueno, obviamente vamos a
Even my
hacer.
dreams are soaked with gloom.
Vamos a hacer lo que sabemos hacer. Obviamente. Peconearle aquí al Joe. Total, acaba de comprarle a su amigo. Permiso, permiso. Pues es una gran casa. A ver, algo que me sirva, algo que me sirva.
It's locked.
Oh, dinero. Gracias. ¿Cómo puedo teleportar de aquí? Estoy robando en tu casa. Oh, carta de rechazo de empleo. Estimado señor Peterson, es mi deber informarle de la imposibilidad de aceptar su solicitud para un puesto de trabajo en el astillero. Le agradecemos, no obstante, el tiempo dedicado a explicarnos la dificultad de su situación, con su hijo enfermo y la desgraciada pérdida de su adorable esposa. Pero también es mi deber informarle acerca de la política de nuestra compañía, que explícitamente rechaza el empleo de antiguos criminales o convictos. Sus desafortunados vínculos con los infames Wet Boot Boys han llegado hasta nuestros oídos. Vivimos tiempos difíciles, señor, y en Finch and Harper siempre intentamos recompensar primero a los candidatos que superan la pequeña encuesta que planteamos a nuestros futuros empleados. Le compadezco profundamente y espero que Dios le acompañe a usted y su familia. R.D. Harper. Lo rechazaron. ¿Viste? Él quiso un trabajo digno, pero lo rechazaron por ser criminal. Propaganda de los cazadores de vampiros, chicos, a favor de.
It's locked, all right.
Pucha, esto quiere decir que tengo que volver después a recorrer todas estas zonas a seguir robándoles. Bueno, gracias, fue muy fructífera la visita. ¿Cómo está? ¿Viste que dice hay que pagar?
You again? What do you want this time?
Le dice hay que pagar de una manera u otra. Bien, tenemos dos preguntas de las pistas que encontramos en la otra charla. A Harry no le gusta vivir acá.
Harry doesn't seem happy living in Whitechapel. Why did you make him come here?
I've always put my son's interests above everything else, whatever he may think. Our house is small but affordable. The walls are thin, but the door is solid.
You really love your son, don't you, Mr. Peterson?
He's my pride and joy. Even if he hates me for the choices I make and pushes me buttons more than he should.
Do you have any regrets?
Only one. Not to have my beloved wife by my side. She died when Harry was little. My sweet Jane. She gave the boy confidence.
Since the criminal nature of your job means you could be arrested, are you not afraid of what would happen to your boy if you were?
No one will ever take my son away from me. If that ever occurred, I'd hunt the bastard down and rip off his head with my bare hands.
Why do you keep on working for the gang, Joe? You know it doesn't suit you.
It's true, I hate this job. And I know I made some bad choices, but I'm a wet boot boy now. People won't forget it.
You could leave tomorrow. Start another life in another town.
That's easy for you to say, Doctor. We are poor. My son's weak, and there's no way he'll endure another disappointment.
Ok.
Goodbye, Mr. Peterson.
Bien.
I should never have taken up.
Estuvo buena la charla aquí. 34 metros. ¿Es por acá? ¿Eres tú?
Excuse me, sir. Are you familiar with this part of town? Name's Clayton Darby, reporter.
Sorry, I'm new to Whitechapel.
Este es. El periodista.
Perhaps you could help me since you're a journalist. My name is Jonathan Reed.
Dr. Reed, the famous surgeon. I'll gladly help if I'm able, sir.
Oh. La prensa no comenta nada sobre la epidemia,
Why are the
dice.
newspapers keeping silent about the Spanish influenza? It's as though none of you care.
There's a war going on. People shouldn't be demoralized by news of deadly diseases.
La gente debería saber.
If no one stops it, this epidemic could turn into a scourge. It may kill more people than the war itself.
Yes, this is another kind of war, but just as deadly. History will judge us all for what we did and what we did not.
Have you any idea of the danger you face in these streets at night?
I've had to run and hide more than once from frenzied mobs incensed by the fever. Do you think the flu is really responsible for this, Doctor?
I must confess, some of my rational views have been shaken by recent events.
I'll remember to stay away from the district's roughest streets then.
What is a journalist doing in this borough after sunset?
He goes where none of his colleagues would dare to go, to inform the country.
So you risk your life to reveal the truth. I saw many reporters do the same during the war.
Whitechapel is the crucible of so many untold stories and tragedies. I want people to know them.
That's quite honorable of you. But is the public interested?
Not at all, sir. And that's why I'm an independent journalist, hoping to sell some stories.
Oh, qué difícil. Qué difícil. Ninguna pregunta personal porque no tengo pistas.
I heard you're investigating an underground medical dispensary in Whitechapel. What do you know about it?
Not much, I'm afraid. They are wary of strangers, and I'm not really an acquaintance of theirs. Why do you care?
I'm a doctor, Mr. Darby. I care about everything involving public health and this epidemic.
Are you sure you're not just concerned about the repercussions that a scandal involving a certain Nurse Crane from the Pembroke Hospital would bring?
Without a doubt, you are a damn fine journalist, Mr. Darby. What do you know of her accomplice, a man named Darius?
I don't know much about the man. He's very cautious, never goes out, doesn't seem to have any friends or family.
He has no relatives at all?
No, except for that strange man, a poet named Richard Nethercott, who sometimes comes by. Darius would never let him in.
Where can I find this Mr. Nethercott?
He spends most of his time lurking around Whitechapel, talking to himself or declaring verses. These days, you can usually find him behind the church.
He never goes out?
No. A few days ago, he unexpectedly did. I followed him, but it was just a ruse to keep me away from his house.
Really? How do you know?
He went to the nearest mailbox, but just before posting his letter, he ripped it up and threw it away.
Lo cagó.
Goodbye, Mr. Darby.
Ay, si me lo puedo cenar, ¿no tiene familiares? Pero me he cenado a varios. Me he cenado a varios. No me has visto cuando...
Do not apologize, my son. Father Tobias Whittaker.
Oh, ya no me gusta la voz.
A scientist. You are much more lost than I thought, my son.
Really? ¿Viste lo que le dice? Eres un científico, entonces estás más perdido de lo que pensaba.
What do you mean when you say that I am more lost than you thought?
All scientists are entangled in a world of causes and consequences, and most of them can't see the plain truth.
Quite a judgmental opinion, if you ask me. But what do I know? Blinded by science as I am.
But you are seeking answers, aren't you? Answers about the Armageddon about to strike the city. Answers about the hidden truth.
I am. But the answers I seek are based on facts, not superstition. What do you mean?
All's
Quite. Well, I suppose I can spare a few minutes listening to your so-called truth.
As a doctor, you must be aware of the decimating epidemic. But let me tell you that this so-called Spanish flu is just the beginning of the end.
What do you mean?
The beast is finally revealing itself, corrupting the flesh and the heart of men. With my own eyes I have seen them, those minions from the abyss.
Really? And what would be your answer to this biblical threat?
We must fight the disease before this legion outnumbers us. But not with scalpels and microscopes. No.
What is left then?
Cleansing fire.
Tell me,
Fuego
Tobias,
purificador.
what exactly is your plan concerning the cleansing of this city?
God will recognize his own. More than once this city has risen from the ashes, hardened and purified by the flames.
Purification by fire has proved useful, but where do you stop? Burn the clothes? The buildings? The corpses? Worse?
Your lack of faith is predictable. But my task is to convince rational minds like yours to see the light. This is God's will.
You're mad and dangerous. You're nothing but a soulless butcher. A small-time Torquemada. The Savonarola of Whitechapel.
My son, if you think salvation is a free gift, go listen to the lies of that pompous fool, Joseph.
Otro del personaje.
Joseph, a fool.
Vicar Larrabee of St. Mary's Church. While he continues preaching his fraudulent redemption.
Okay.
What do you mean?
All's
Quite a...
you.
Well,
As a doctor,
what do you mean?
the beast.
I have heard enough. Goodbye.
Oh, lo puteamos. El cura está afuera, hombre. Está ahí.
Soon the time will come when you will all be judged for your sins.
Ah, todos serán castigados.
The wars of men should not be your main concern. The disease upon us is not an accident of nature, but a punishment.
Ah, por acá debería estar el poeta, cabros. A menos que se haya convertido en Vampyr. Se convirtió en Vampyr. Está la weá, weón. Concha, ¿tiene compañeros? Creo que se hizo zombie el otro. Ah, o el periodista me mandó a la zombiación. ¿A qué hora renueva el sella? ¿Cuál sella? ¿Qué? Gripe frecuentemente agravada por la neumonía. Quédese en casa para evitar contagiarse de la gripe española. Si me hablas del sella de siempre, a las 5 de la mañana. Si hablas del 6 parado. Ahí está. A las 12 de la noche. Está
Good
solo en un
evening, sir.
cementerio.
I'm Dr. Reed. I would like to ask you a few questions.
Please be my guest. Although I may not be the best informant regarding this part of town, my words speak about that which the eyes cannot see.
Ah, no, a las 12 ahora.
Are you an artist of some kind?
I'm a poet, sir. Richard
¿Viste?
Nethercott,
El poeta.
at your service.
Ay, quiero tomar.
May I ask what you're doing at this hour of night, sir?
Esa es una pregunta que yo también tengo.
Not at all. I'm just enjoying the pleasure of a quiet walk. Though night talks are always preferable, if you ask me. Especially with strangers.
But are you not afraid of the epidemic?
Oh, why should I? I see some equity in the Spanish flu. No flesh should be saved, say the scriptures. Good or evil, rich or poor, all are equal in the eyes of the flu.
Todos somos iguales a los ojos de la fiebre.
If you say so. But as a physician in a time of epidemic, I must caution you to avoid unnecessary exposure, sir.
Thank you, Doctor. But we both know the seeker of truth has to go boldly where the weak dare not.
What are your thoughts on the terrible situation in this city?
Terrible, you say? No. Of course, the death of so many innocents is a tragedy. But the scourge has not been all bad for the city. Oh, no, sir.
What are you talking about?
You remember London before the flu? Noisy, cacophonic, quiet, nowhere to be found. And now, listen to this oddly
Es un silencio de muerte.
Peaceful? That's quite an unusual way to speak about the epidemic. And very inappropriate, I must say.
Most people fail to understand my perspective. I don't blame them. But how could I call myself a poet if I veiled my feelings?
Are you aware that your life could be in danger in this part of town?
But this is where I must be to feel the real beat of the city. I had to come, see it for myself, alone.
I understand your need for solitude, but it's not safe around here.
I don't care. I don't have many friends, Doctor, and my family despises me.
If some
Este sí podríamos comernos.
who would be here to help you?
Well, you for a start, my dear Doctor.
Tell me, Mr. Nethercott, why seek inspiration in Whitechapel?
The place is not beautiful per se, but how to explain it? Stirring and challenging.
Do you not think it a little morbid?
Este sí parece un poco distinto,
Whitechapel is
¿eh?
full of life, full of beauty. Just like my dear muse, the wonderful Camellia.
What can you tell me about Camellia?
Not much.
¿Quién carajo es Camellia?
And that's the beauty of it. She can't speak, you know. She's a locked mystery who exhales kindness and sweetness.
Perhaps you're just afraid to find out the truth about your muse.
One day, perhaps, I'll ask her to come with me. But will she still be my wild flower of Whitechapel if she moves uptown?
And
Me
have you ever
perturba
tried to
este tipo.
learn more about her? Where she lives, how she survives, whom she may know.
Maybe I prefer she remains an enigma. Reality can be so dull, don't you think?
Mejor no lo comas todo el tiempo.
In what way?
The struggle by gaslight.
If you say so.
Such vibrant antagonism and vivid paradox. The stripped humanity raged across each street.
Vivid, of course, yes. And what about the poignant distress?
Oh yes, the poignant distress. You see what I mean, don't you? That's what I want to write about, and that's what Whitechapel is made of.
Dios mío.
May I ask you a few questions about the district?
Extraordinary part of town, is it not? I'll be glad to help you, if I can.
I'm looking for Dorothy Crane, a nurse who lives in this vicinity.
Dorothy Crane. Oh, I love the name. The Crane of Whitechapel. Sounds very mysterious. But, sorry, no, never heard of her.
What can you tell me about an old man called Darius?
Darius Petrescu? Yes, I know him. At first, I thought he was only a small publisher. I invited him to publish my work, but his reaction was pretty clear.
Not interested in your talent?
Darius is an old political activist who takes delight in printing tracts and lampoons. Those communist activities only require mediocre writing skills.
I'll leave you alone, sir.
Morbidity can breathe its own beauty and grace. Whitechapel is not just disease, desertion, and despair. Morbidity can breathe its own beauty and grace. Whitechapel is not just disease, desertion, and despair.
Bien. Estaba mirando fotillos de mi mamá que ya están en el aeropuerto.
Some of us come to this world already touched by grace.
Este sí que está medio piteado, cabros. Realmente. Oh, carta de rechazo de un editor. Carta de rechazo. Psycho Font. Estimado señor fulano. Ah, el poeta este. Gracias por habernos enviado su poemario, Canciones de una ciudad vencida. Pensamos que es tan interesante y profundo como la primera vez que nos lo envió. Le ruego que, dadas las terribles circunstancias a las que hace frente el país, entienda que su título es completamente inapropiado para una publicación. Por consiguiente, ante su negativa a cambiar el título y exigir la publicación completa de su trabajo o rechazar la colaboración, lamento comunicarle que la editorial se ha decantado por la segunda opción. O sea, lo han rechazado. No quieren publicidad que los deprima, ¿cachai, no?
Good evening, Mr.
And good evening.
You don't really make a living from your scribblings, do you, Richard?
No, sir, I don't. I work so hard. I put all my time, my energy, my devotion into the precise carving of words.
Still, you don't seem to suffer from poverty.
With thanks to my parents, actually. I'm afraid I would not be able to live on my own without their help.
You seem embarrassed.
Someday I hope to proudly offer my first publication to my parents. Until that day, I'll remain the failure of a son they have to support.
Oh, ¿viste? Bueno.
I'll leave you alone, sir.
Le mantiene a los papás porque no quiere cambiar el título de sus publicaciones. Igual se entiende un poco que la prensa no quiera publicar las cosas tristes que están ocurriendo, pero ocultan la información. ¿Pero qué hacemos? ¿Qué hacemos? ¿Se publica sí o sí? La gente está muriendo en todos lados. Es complejo, complejo. Un ramo con un cupón para una revisión médica gratuita, oculto entre las flores. If you are sick, if you have no money. Esta es la de Dorothea. Y está escrito en otro idioma también. ¿Camelia lo hace? Qué surprise, motherfucker. Uy, alto ese weón. Estos nunca están solos, ¿viste?
Steady, boys!
¡Ja! Reverendo Kane. Es nivel 16. ¿Para qué nos hacemos este daño? Esperemos un ratito. Es nivel 15. Oh, me vio. Me lanzo contra el de 16, ¿no? Oh, mira, lo podemos sorprender. Se ve difícil. Concha tu madre. Oh. Oh, estamos jodidos, cabros. Ay, corre, corre. Me dejó pa'l pico. ¡Oh! Tiene poderes contra los sí, ocupa la cruz. Toda la wea. De haberme arrancado. Bueno, vamos a cortar la grabación un ratito.
Bueno chicos, hasta acá el video de hoy, espero que les haya gustado. Si es así, por favor, denle like, lo pueden compartir con sus amigos, suscribirse si no se han suscrito y como siempre les digo, nos estaremos leyendo los comentarios. Que estén muy muy bien. Adiós.